Welcome to Steve Ludwig's Classic Pop Culture, show number 131.
Classic pop culture. It's classic pop culture. Hosted by Steve Ludwig on Planet Ludwig. Classic pop culture. It's classic pop culture. Classic pop culture.
Thank you, Joe Mandica, Australia's premier songsmith. The great Joe Mandica has written, produced, and performed our opening theme for Steve Ludwig's Classic Pop Culture. Get all of Joe Mandica's music wherever you'd find all your great music. CD Baby, Amazon.com, you know where to find it. Joe Mandica, we love you, Joe. And how you doing, everybody? This is your pal and fellow fan of pop culture, Steve Ludwig, welcoming you to another edition of Steve Ludwig's Classic Pop Culture, right here at PlanetLudwig.com. Congratulations, you have landed safely and peacefully at Planet Ludwig. But on this particular edition, oh yeah, we have 25 horror film themes, music, and you, my dear listeners, will have to guess what horror film they're from. Now, here's how we're going to play the game. We're going to play about between 30 seconds and a minute of music from a horror movie. Now, I should say horror/sci-fi because sometimes sci-fi kind of drifts over into horror and vice versa. Vice versa. So you might have a science fiction film thrown in there, here and there. But anyway. Okay, so first you'll hear music from the movie. Then I will play some dialogue from that movie. And from those clues, the music and the dialogue, you have to guess what classic horror film it's from. Now, we take horror films from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and for good measure, we've thrown a few in there pre-1960s. Very cool, right? Now, being a former teacher, I guess I'll always be a teacher at heart. If we want to make this real fun and interesting, here's what you can do. If you can guess the name of the movie while the music clue is playing, give yourself 4 points. If you still can't get it, and then once the dialogue begins, and then you get it before the dialogue is over, or before I give you the answer, give yourself 2 points. All right? So if you get it during the music part, 4 points. If it takes you the dialogue, 2 points. All right? Or you can just say, Steve, please be quiet. Let us just play this game without any mathematical calculations. All right? 25 horror/sci-fi. Now, there might be a spoiler or two here or there, okay? So I will tell you that. And a couple of the dialogues do have some language, okay? You might have an F word here or there. So if you are offended by that, get ready. Okay, everybody. So are you set? Here we go. Put your horror thinking caps on. Now, don't be too scared because I will always be here with you. I'll be talking to you between each song. Good luck. Here, then, is your first horror/sci-fi movie. So once the speaking starts, you're down to your 2 points.
Am I Claire Lambert? I want to get the hell out of here.
Oh, God, it's moving right towards you. Move, get out of there. Towards you, move. Dad, move, Dad. Move, Dad, get out. Oh, no, not that way, the other way, God.
Whoa, did you get that? 1979, Ridley Scott's Alien. Sigourney Weaver, of course. Have to say something that I'm very proud about. My alma mater, North Bergen, New Jersey High School, in 2019 put on the play Alien. It was so successful that Sigourney Weaver actually came to North Bergen, spoke to the cast and crew during a subsequent presentation of it. Very cool. Okay, we're going to stick with the 70s. Ready? Here's your next one.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
You'd like that?
Intensely.
But wouldn't that drive you out of Reagan?
It would bring us together.
You and Reagan?
You and us.
From 1973. He gave you a little bit of a clue there. The Exorcist, of course. William Friedkin's Exorcist, Linda Blair. I had the pleasure of meeting Linda Blair on a few conventions, and she's very into anti-animal cruelty, and she's very sweet, very nice. Okay, let's go to the 1980s. See if you can get this one.
Just sit there, seize him, punish him, cut him down, I command you. I am the word and the giver of his laws. Disobedience to me is disobedience to him. Do it now, or your punishment shall be 1,000 times, 1,000 deaths, each more horrible than the last.
They are tired of your talk, Isaac. I've shown them what I can do. Cut the woman down. Put Isaac in her place.
You poor Isaac. 1984. Based on Stephen King's short story of Children of the Corn. How you guys doing? Those of you who were keeping score, so far 12 would be a perfect score. Now we're going to go way back, pre-1960s. That's all I'll tell you for this one.
was caught in a trap tonight. I don't know how I got there. The old gypsy woman helped me get away. And now they're all out hunting for me.
Listen to me. You're Lawrence Talbot. This is Talbot Castle. You believe those men can come in here and take you out?
No. I'll go out to them.
Did you recognize the name, Lawrence Talbot? Did you recognize the voice, Lon Chaney Jr., 1941's The Wolfman, Universal Studios. Claude Rains played his dad in that one. Okay, we're going to jump way ahead to the 2000s. Here we go.
Y'all here for a vacation?
Yeah, we're renting a cabin for about a week.
Oh, that's nice. Well, enjoy your little slice of heaven, and if you go in the woods, be very careful.
Why? What's in the woods?
Wouldn't you like to know? And your cabin, the word cabin was a little bit of a clue there. 2002's Cabin Fever. The music, in addition to Nathan Barr, is by Angelo Badalamenti, famous collaborator of with David Lynch, David Lynch, Twin Peaks and things like that. Okay, we were just in the 2000s. Let's go back to the 1960s. Here's our first one from the 60s.
Shut up, you freak! Julius, you... I said shut up! It's a madhouse! A madhouse!
Charlton Heston, 1968, Planet of the Apes. Woo, Planet of the Apes? How about the Planet of the Apes? What a classic. And if you want to read the great book on Planet of the Apes, check out Joe Russo, R-U-S-S-O. Book by Joe Russo. Joe Russo, having trouble talking here. Joe Russo was a guest of ours a few years ago. Check him out on the guest list right here at planetludwig.com. Great interview. He's a great pop culture fanatic. He's an expert. Okay, let's go from 1968 into the next decade of the 70s.
place a curse of suffering on you that will doom you to a living hell. A hunger, wild, gnawing, animal hunger will grow in you. A hunger for human blood. I curse you with my name. You shall be.
Had to cut it off there. That would have given you the answer. You will be, did you guess, Blackula? Oh yeah, starring the late great William Marshall. That's from 1972. Okay, let's skip ahead. Let's keep it going, baby. 1900s. Well, I'm right. It is the 1900s that this one's from, but 1990s. Good luck.
Woke up this morning, just like 2 seconds ago, and there are piles of rocks outside of our tent. There are 3, actually.
Are you seriously fucking positive those weren't there?
I am seriously fucking positive these were not here. How would we have, just made a campsite in between 3 piles of rocks just by coincidence? You don't think this is strange?
Popularizing the found footage technique from 1999, Blair Witch Project. It's tough, isn't it, just with the music? I think when we hear the words, the vocals, the lines from the movie, it does help a bit. And that's why they're only worth 2 points with the lines. Okay. We are going to skip ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, let's go back. 1980s. Good luck.
Anybody here? Who's there?
Brains. Did I throw you up with the Freddy? It is not Nightmare on Elm Street. It is, of course, 1985's Return of the Living Dead. So many great performances. I love James Karen in that one, but Brains, I thought that would give it away. We are going back to pre-1960s.
size of those footprints?
Ooh, those are some big feet. 1954, Godzilla. And the American version was Raymond Burr at the era. Look at the size of those feet or footprints. I forget what he said. But I had the pleasure, 1956, I think. Did I say 54? I'm sorry. I met at a convention Haruo Nakajima, who was inside, the man inside the Godzilla costume. And if you're a fan of horror films like I am, and I'm sure most of you are, wow, was that a thrill. Okay, from 1956 to the 70s.
The film which you are about to see is an account of the tragedy which befell a group of 5 youths, in particular Sally Hardesty and her invalid brother Franklin. It is all the more tragic in that they were young. But had they lived very, very long lives, they could not have expected, nor would they have wished to see as much of the mad and macabre as they were to see that day. For them, an idyllic summer afternoon drive became a nightmare. The events of that day were to lead to the discovery of one of the most bizarre crimes in the annals of American history.
And I can't play any more because John Larroquette, who is the announcer there, gives the title. Did you get it? 1973's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'll tell you, that has to be, that's definitely in my top 5 horror films of all time. You can imagine how happy I was and honored to have as a guest back in 2017 on my classic pop culture, the girl on the meat hook. Pam, her name was in the movie. Terry McMinn, actress, came on the show, and we talked about many things about the movie, but I would like to play just a 5-minute clip, less than 5 minutes, a bit from that interview, and she told us about that meat hook scene. You see the posters for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you always see her hanging on the meat hook. Woo! But here she is. Just a quick side note here. She was really a lovely, fun, cool person. So here's Terry McMinn from 2017 talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I want to read a quote from Gunnar Hansen. Of course, he played the late Gunnar Hansen. He played Leatherface about the hook scene. He said, "It's horrifying and gruesome, not because you ever see the hook going in, but it's because you see Terry's reaction to the pain of the hook." And Terry, I remember so vividly the first time I saw that scene, and you're just trying to catch your breath. It was so, you just sold it so perfectly. I really felt that hook was in your back. And I mean, 1,000 kudos to you. How did you prepare for that scene? It was wonderful.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, and the funny thing is that I beat myself up for 30 years thinking I was terrible in the film.
Oh no, heavens no.
So it was quite a stunning thing to me when I went to my first convention, in 2008, and there were all these people. I could not imagine why they wanted to talk to me.
Oh my goodness.
What happened with that scene was the day before we were going to shoot it, Toby asked me, if I had thought about it, and I told him, yes, I had, and I thought that if the hook didn't hit her in a strategic point, that she might try to reach up to get off of the hook, to pull herself up. And so that was my intention. And it was, people have often thought that that was a difficult or, horrid thing. The only thing that was horrid about it was that I had to, wear this basic chastity type belt inside my shorts, and then they used pantyhose to attach it to the underneath of my bathing suit.
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing on the back. Obviously there was from the angle, but yeah, that was a tough outfit that they would have to make it work.
So, and there were really no dressing rooms, so I remember that afterward Dottie sprayed me down because the blood that they used was Cairo based. And so the flies, heat, flies, Texas, summer.
Yeah.
So that was the only part. But we started shooting that first thing in the morning around 9 a.m., and we finished at noon. So 3 hours was all it took to do all of those scenes on the meat hook. And
that even seems like a long time to me, but I'm a layman. But 3 hours doing that must have been rough.
Well,
relatively speaking, I guess not.
For that was quick.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that much time on the hook. There were anyway. The director was underneath me, spotting me, so that the hook went into the ring, and also it was when we finished. There were about 20 people from the crew, and some of the cast came to see the scene shot, too. And everyone was standing in a line opposite the meat hook, where Gunnar and I were. You could have heard a pin drop. It was so quiet, and everybody had these ghastly looks on their faces. They were completely stunned, and at that moment, I had this little inkling. I thought, oh, maybe we got that one,
Yeah.
And
oh my God, what a tremendous job! Just like, and I'm not even going to try to imitate you, but you're gasping for breath and reaching back. Just great, really great.
Well, thank you. Now, when I watch it, I must admit I like the scenes. I think. I say to myself, well, gosh, Terry, that was fine,
Yeah, doggone it, I nailed it. Or hooked it, or whatever. No pun intended.
Now Pam posts the gifs of it. I let her post the gifs,
She was so nice. And I'll tell you, she mentioned Toby, the name Toby. Of course, she's talking about Toby Hooper, who wrote and directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If you get a chance, check out. It's show number 116. You can either find it that way in the menu or look for Terry McMinn's name in the guest list. Really wonderful, wonderful person. Great interview. I also forgot to mention when we were listening to Godzilla, Chris Gambuti, Godzilla specialist, Gambuti, his last name. He was a guest. He talked about all things Godzilla. So you can check that out, too, if you get into the menu. Okay, from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, we go back to the 60s. One clue here, when you listen to the music, is the vocalist in the music was also the lead in the movie. Good luck.
La 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 la
What have you done to it? What have you done to its eyes?
He has his father's eyes.
Maurice Evans, He Has His Father's Eyes. 1968, Rosemary's Baby, starring Mia Farrow as Rosemary, directed by Roman Polanski. Outdoor shots of the Dakota Building, West 72nd Street, New York City, where we lost John Lennon in 1980. Okay, let's see, that was 1968. Let's skip ahead and keep right on rolling here, baby. Don't know how many of you are still keeping score. Hope you're doing well. I don't even know if I would pass this test if I didn't have the answers. 1980s.
In there. It's weird and pissed off, whatever it is.
Bennings, go get Childs.
What is this? What's going on? Hey, Palmer, what is it?
Very weird. Very plotting music. John Carpenter's The Thing, the remake of The Thing that was from 1982. And, right? Am I losing my mind? It's John Carpenter, right? Where are we? Yes, of course. And starred Kurt Russell. Super. Super, super, super. Speaking of super, we are now going to the 1990s.
If you look in the mirror and you say his name 5 times, he'll appear behind you, breathing down your neck.
Tony Todd, Tony Todd, Tony Todd, Tony Todd. Candyman, 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 Candyman. I'm stopping at 4. See what I did there? Okay. From 1992, Candyman, starring the great Tony Todd and Virginia Madsen also. Okay, now this one is really going to be a tough one. Not that the others have been simple, but especially with the music, I find that a lot of the music can fit in other horror movies, and then when you get to the lines of dialogue, that's when it kind of helps out. But here's one, pre-1960s. Check it out. See if you can get this one from the music.
one of us. A loving cup. A loving cup. We accept a one of us. We accept a one of us.
Gooba gobble, gooba gobble.
We accept her. We accept her. Google gobble. Google gobble. One of us. One of us. Google gobble.
They're going to make you one of them. My peacock. Gooba gobble.
Gooba Gobble. Wow, one of the strangest, freakiest, there you go, movies ever made. One of the best ever made. Oh my gosh. Todd Browning's Freaks from 1932. And this was made the year after Todd Browning directed Bela Lugosi and Dracula. And Freaks, for all intents and purposes, pretty much blacklisted or destroyed Todd Browning's career. All right. Where are we? 1980s. I have a feeling if you can't get it from the music, once you hear the audio, the dialogue might come to you. Here we go.
Ever thought about my responsibilities?
Oh, Dick, what are you talking about?
Have you ever had a single moment's thought about my responsibilities? Have you ever thought for a single solitary moment about my responsibilities to my employers? Has it ever occurred to you that I have agreed to look after the Overlook Hotel until May the 1st?
The Overlook Hotel. Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, The Shining. Stanley Kubrick's brilliant film, 1980. Wow. All right. Let me check the year. Okay. From 1980, we go back a decade. This is from the 70s.
Supernatural voodoo woman does a thing at night. Supernatural voodoo woman do her wrong and you won't see the light. You won't see the light, no. She says spread the word to the people. Tell them that it's not too late, but they must take this chance to do the dance of love and celebrate the death of hate. Celebrate the death of hate. Celebrate the death of hate. Supernatural voodoo.
A gift for you.
Bye.
Won't you join me?
One of the great zombie movies from 1974, Sugar Hill. Now that is not to be confused with Wesley Snipes' Sugar Hill from 1994, 1993. No, this was Sugar Hill from '74 with a very cool theme song, "Supernatural Voodoo Woman" by the Originals. Back to the 2000s from one of my all-time favorite filmmakers.
Is that why he wears the mask?
Yeah. My baby boy gets shy around new people. But he'll warm up to you. Especially the girls. Oh, he's a real lady killer.
Oof. Karen Black. 2003's House of a Thousand Corpses. Rob Zombie. I love Rob Zombie's movies. I know he gets criticized for being ultra-violent, ultra-gory. It's a horror movie. Rob Zombie, we love you. Don't ever change your movie making. Please, we love it. And did you catch, or did you know, that is a pre-Office Rainn Wilson, when I asked about The Mask. Pre-Dwight Schrute from 2003, House of a Thousand Corpses, and The Office first season was 2005. Neat. Here we go. Speaking of neat, check this out from the 70s.
What exactly did my father die of, Dr. Minot? And the boat's crew, what happened to them?
What's about the dead coming back to life again and having to be killed a second time?
Lucio Fulci's Zombie from 1979. Or depending on, what you're reading here, it's either Zombie 2, because Zombie overseas was known as Dawn of the Dead, so they had to change its name to Zombie 2. Also known as Island of the Living Dead, Zombie Flesh Eaters, but it's the Lucio Fulci with great music by Goblin. Here we go. Next one.
I brought you something.
Ooh, that evil little kid. From 1989, Pet Sematary. Of course, Stephen King's Pet Sematary. And the late, and I will say great, Fred Gwynne. I mean, forever he was known as Herman Munson. I don't think he was crazy about that. He was really a fine actor. My cousin Vinny played the judge. But, yeah. Pet Sematary, the original. What'd you think of the remake? I liked it. I did like it. Okay, speaking of pretty cool, great people in the horror genre, here's our next one.
What are you saying? That I killed her? It would certainly improve your high school Q.
Stu was with me last night, okay?
Yeah, it was. Ooh. Was that before or after he sliced and diced?
Fuck you, nutcase. Where were you last night?
Working. Thank you.
Oh, at the video store? I thought they fired your sorry ass.
Twice. No, I didn't kill anybody. Nobody said you did. Thanks, buddy. Besides, it takes a man to do something like that.
From Horror Master, Wes Craven, 1996, Scream, the original Scream. What a cast. Really, wow. Next, one of my definite favorite horror movies.
What the hell are they?
They're us, that's all. There's no more room in hell. What? It's something my granddaddy used to tell us. You know Macumba? Voodoo. Granddad was a priest in Trinidad. He used to tell us, when there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk here.
From the grandfather, the godfather of zombie movies, George Romero, from 1978, The Dawn of the Dead. Or, if you're overseas, it was known as Zombie, as I just mentioned earlier, about the Lucio Fulci movie, Zombie 2. Okay, back to what decade? Okay. We're in the 70s with Dawn of the Dead. Let's stay there, in the 70s.
You're on sacred ground, my friend, a very font of evil. For in this very crypt lay a man whose malice appalled the gods, whose unrelenting thirst for vengeance inflamed the mind of Satan himself. Even now, demonic forces hover here, feeding upon the psychic force of that one act. Be still. Listen. Even now, their malevolent gaze may be falling upon you.
I don't care if their gaze falls upon me, as long as they keep their pea-picking hands to themselves.
Come, children, stay in single file and take hold of one another. There are, things in the night, waiting for children who stray out of the light.
Children, the operative word. Children shouldn't play with dead things. Another one of my favorite zombie movies. Directed by Bob Clark, who later on went to direct, of course, Porky's 2, and A Christmas Story, among other things. And Alan Ormsby, the writer and main character there. Really super. Love it. All right. Another one I love. Oh, I'm giving you, Mike, your clue here. Year 79. I'm giving you a good clue. This one is from 1979.
The funeral is about to begin, sir. I've been waiting for you. Boy. You play a good game, boy. But the game is finished. Now you die.
Boy, and so says Angus Scrimm as the man. Okay, Steve. As the tall man from Phantasm, of course, 1979. The original Phantasm. We are up to number 25, our final horror film. Now, for this one, I think this is the toughest one, at least that's why I put it as 25th. Here is just a strange film. If you're a real deep, heavy horror film, you may get this just from the opening theme. And then you'll hear some dialogue. It's from 1967. I'll give you the exact year. Good luck with this one. Our final one. See if you can get it.
Morte o nada, ou é a vida o nada, e a morte o tudo.
So you know it's foreign. It's from Brazil, and it's from, like I said, 1967, written, directed, produced, and starring Coffin Joe, Jose Mojica Marins. This Night I'll possess your corpse. If you haven't seen this, wow, check it out. It's one of the weirdest, which means it's one of the coolest horror movies ever. So how'd you do, guys? Did you keep score? I think I would have failed my own test here, my own horror quiz. If we're going with school scores, 70 is passing. So how'd you do? Doesn't matter how you did. Did you have a good time? I hope so. Like I said earlier, I don't even think I could have passed my own horror quiz if I didn't have the answers in front of me. Well, on that note, I guess that'll do it, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. We love you guys. We will catch you next time. Until then, this is your pal, Steve Ludwig, hoping that all of your horror adventures are safe, cool, scary, and groovy. Bye for now.
Well, goodbye, and good luck. What do you mean, goodbye? I'm not going with you? Why, no. You have to stay here with Barnaby. You're married to him. I don't want to stay here with him. Why? I don't love him. Oh! If he ever sees... Oh!